what has been happening, what is on your radar, and what do you expect to happen in the next few years, and what's this next crisis going to look like?
Right. That gets a little bit to the title of the book, Aftermath, because people say, well, okay, Jim, aftermath of what? And it has two meanings. The first is we are still in the aftermath of 2008. Nothing was solved. I understand the fire was put out. We're now in the 11th year of an expansion. This is the longest expansion in U.S. history. Stock markets are near all-time highs. I understand all that. But none of the problems that precipitated the 2008 financial crisis have been solved. All that happened was the debt was lifted from private hands to government hands. It's on the balance sheets of the central banks. Now look at what Ben Bernanke did in 2008. So first thing he does is cut interest rates to zero. Well, you're supposed to do. That's budget. What does a central banker do in a liquidity crisis? Lend freely at a punitive rate to solvent institutions. Well, Bernanke got 1 out of 3. He lent freely. He did not impose a punitive rate. He lowered rates to zero, and he lent to solvent and insolvent institutions alike. They should have shut down a lot more banks. It shouldn't have just been Lehman Brothers. But anyway, he did that. That was QE1, which one can excuse as a proper exercise of the liquidity authority of the central bank. QE2 and QE3 are nonsense, but we can come to that. So that's the first thing he did. But they didn't stop it. So lower interest rates to zero, start QE1, start printing trillions of dollars. Bernanke and working with the FDIC and Sheila Bair and others guaranteed every bank deposit in America. They didn't have to do that. We had a $250,000 insurance limit, but some small business might have $1 million in the bank, so they were pulling the money out of the bank. So Bernanke said, forget that. We're guaranteeing, regardless of size, guaranteeing everything.
This was in 08, right?
08, correct.
I remember I was in London and I was concerned about my deposits. Yeah. And I remember I had some money in RBS and I called them up and said, get my money out. And they said, you have to come into the branch.
Right.
I said, you must be joking. And you have to come to the branch and stand in line with all these people. So I was like, all right, you're imposing liquidity on me.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was a real panic time.
Right. Well, I tell people, if you put your money in the bank, it's not your money anymore. It's the bank's money, and they'll give it to you if they feel like it. And that was a very good example of that.
It's a really good quote.
He then guarantees every money market fund in the United States. There was no legal requirement for that. They just did that by fiat. So it's guaranteed every bank deposit, guaranteed every money market, interest rates to zero, QE1. And then, unbeknownst to the world, because this didn't come out till 3 years later, they did $10 trillion worth of currency swaps with the ECB, because you had the same problem in Europe. And so, Deutsche Bank and, I don't have to pick on the Germans, it was all the banks. They had dollar assets, which they were funding with dollar liabilities. And the dollar liabilities were mostly commercial paper and short-term notes, which had been bought by the U.S. money market funds. Well, the U.S. money market funds had to dump everything to pay shareholders who were redeeming, and they were not rolling over. So all of a sudden, the liabilities, the ability of the European banks to roll over the dollar liabilities was gone. That's when you turn to your central bank. The problem was the ECB doesn't print dollars, they print euros. They didn't have dollars to give to Deutsche Bank. So what happened was Bernanke prints up $10 trillion, ECB prints up 10 trillion euros or whatever equivalent is. They swap. Now the Fed's got all the euros and the ECB had dollars, which they could then hand out to the banks. That's how they bailed out Europe.
I'm looking for partners, collaborators, colleagues who want to join forces with me around the globe and create real value, generational wealth, and financial freedom for everyone else around the world. Get involved in the cryptocurrency markets, get involved in the NFT markets. This is your moment. Life all comes down to a few moments. Don't let this pass. Now it's not too late. Next year is going to be too late. Ultimately, this is about freedom. That's the way I see it. This is about giving power back to the people and enabling billions of people worldwide to use the financial markets to improve their lives and those of their friends and their families and their communities. Honestly, I think it's a violation of human rights not to allow people basic access to financial services. Because right now people are being kept in the dark, they're being robbed of education, and it's a travesty. And so I'm looking for people that want to join me and be a part of this solution. And that all happens inside the DeFi Academy. The gains my students are making are absolutely amazing. Double, triple digit gains in the first month alone. That's amazing. This will change your life. Now is the time to get involved. I'm going to tell you exactly how my students in my academy made money in the last 30 days. I'm talking about real trading results. And let me just whet your appetite a little bit. Let me hit you with some numbers. I'm talking Brendan from New Zealand is up 68.77% on the month. Steve from Europe up 83%. Albert in Singapore up 169.9% on one single trade. I got Susan up 153% on her call options alone. Also rocking 139% returns and 442% returns as well on individual trades. These are people that are changing their financial future in the last 30 days, but it's based on trading discipline.
I've graduated over 500 students from inside my academy from over 54 countries around the world. It's amazing. When it comes to crypto, DeFi, and blockchain, we love this space. We truly believe it's the future. This is down to our core. It's authentic to what we're doing, and everybody can tell through the camera because you can't make this stuff up.
If you're watching me now, wherever you are, I implore you, take 60 seconds right now and join my academy. Apply today. Now you've got a chance. Life all comes down to a few moments. What are you going to do? What's the choice that you're going to make?